Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a game replay, Vintage Cube Draft. And yeah, I thought I'd just take the opportunity to step through this game that I played. I'm just actually bringing up the deck now because I realised that would be quite helpful. With what was a pretty interesting game, very close down to the wire. I have this very funky deck, which ironically the opponent also was playing a pretty similar copy of. This is the deck in question. So it's essentially like 5 color good stuff. I've got a couple of two fetch lands. Got Strip Mine, a bunch of jewels, and then space green white. I've got things like Balance, Oracle, Crucible of Worlds. I've got a lot of Planeswalkers, Ren and 6, Oko, Grist, Reddy, Gideon's, Teferi, then just like generally powerful cards like Time Walk, Baleful Strix, Fallen Shinobi, Mirari's Wake, etc. So that's the deck, and this is game 1 of match 1. So let's take us through it. So yeah, pretty easy keep for this hand. Going to take a bit of damage from this Rising Canopy. They cast a Signet. So I decided to level up the Tree Speaker here because next turn I can cast Mirari's Wake off it if it survives. They cast Strix. I can actually cast any of these 3 spells. So I could cast Fallen Shinobi, Teferi, or Mirari's Wake. I decided to go ahead and cast the Wake first, since next turn I can presumably do some of both. Then they hit me with the Baleful Strix, and this is where it gets fun because they also have a Fallen Shinobi. So they hit me, exile my Time Walk, so they cast Time Walk, take an extra turn, hit me again, down to 4. They get my Daretti. So they sack Daretti to kill my Tree Speaker. Play a Signet. Play an Avalanche Riders to blow up another land. So this turn, I figured that the best way I can survive, well, basically the only way I can survive is by playing Gideon. I can either plus Gideon to make things attack it, or minus Gideon to kill off the Fallen Shinobi. So I figure the best chance of surviving is to plus Gideon. Go down to 3 life, because remember this deals me damage every time I attack it for mana. They sack the Avalanche Riders instead of paying for it. Dash in a Ragavan, which is going to put me to 1. So putting me to 1 basically means Flooded Strand and Horizon Canopy just can't tap for mana anymore. So then they've got Daretti to kill any creatures. They've got Ragavan in hand. But this is where Gideon's going to be really good, right? Because Gideon's plus means they have to attack Gideon next turn. So that was an amazing draw off the Horizon Canopy, the untapped blue source, so I can cast Teferi. Also means I get to use Strip Mine, because Teferi's ability is going to untap Strip Mine. But end of turn, they also have another creature to flash in. So they've got a Planeswalker actually, the Wandering Empire, which makes 2/2s. I meant to Strip Mine their land on the end of my turn, but for some reason the trigger didn't work, so I actually gave them an untapped step. So I Strip Mine their land. They Daretti my Mox Diamond, which makes sense because it's giving me coloured mana. They're just casting a bunch of Signets. They cast the Ragavan for itself. They have to attack Gideon, because I've plussed Gideon, so Gideon goes down to 3. I'm still on 1, but at least I have 2 Planeswalkers. So I draw Balance, which isn't very good at the moment. I choose to cast Crucible and just Strip Mine another of their lands. That was possibly the incorrect play. Maybe I should just kept the land. I mean, I've got Mirari's Wake, so all my lands tap for double mana. So I keep having to plus Gideon so I don't die, because of course any creature that hits me is lethal. And they've still got Daretti activations with all of their signets to kill any creatures. So after this draw, again, Balance. I can't cast Balance at the moment. Balance would have been great here, but I don't have any white mana, that's why I didn't cast Balance. So instead, I cast Oracle of Multiire. Find the land. So now I can cast Balance, but obviously now that I've got Oracle, I don't want to cast Balance. So instead, I just cast the Signet plus Teferi. Still on 1. They cast Halana and Elena. I've plus Gideon, so again they have to attack Gideon. They kill my Oracle with my own Daretti, and finally Daretti dies. They kill Gideon with this attack, but now I have a great Balance. So I tap all my mana, float it all, play the land out to make them discard their extra card. So I keep 1 land, they keep 1 card and sack all their creatures. They discard, ironically, their own Mirari's Wake. It's like our decks are very similar. But then I get to use the mana I've floated to cast Fallen Shinobi. And then they're in a bit of a pickle. They've only got 2 mana now, so they make a Samurai with the Wandering Emperor, which luckily I can get out of the way with Teferi. So I get rid of get rid of their token with my Teferi, and then hit them with Fallen Shinobi and get their Teferi, which of course is then going to be able to tuck the Fallen Emperor away, and then they scoop on the next turn. But I mean, I went through it quite quickly, but there was certainly a couple of turns there where I got quite lucky in drawing things like Mox Diamond because both of my lands I couldn't tap, or I got to draw off the Horizon Canopy into the land to cast Teferi. But I think it's a good example of, even when you feel really far behind, don't concede because you've still got a chance. Right? I got hit by Fallen Shinobi twice. They cast Time Walk. They cast my Planeswalker. I went to 4 life, and I had like 2 lands in play or something. But just the way the sequences worked out in my favour, I think they probably got a little bit unlucky with lands as well. Just shows that you can win a game like that, and one of the best games I've ever won. Just so satisfying to come back and win that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this quick replay, and best of luck in your cubing.